When we think about the size of the universe, most of us stop at the Sun, Moon, Earth, and Jupiter. But trust me, compared to the entities beyond our universe, these are smaller than a grain of sand. Yes, Earth seems huge. It holds billions of people, their homes, lands, and oceans. But what if I told you there could be a universe with trillions of other universes inside it and still have room to spare? Imagine something so vast it could gobble up billions of suns, and it would be just a teaspoon for it. Sounds crazy, right? Well, today I'm going to blow your mind with concepts so gigantic they're almost impossible to believe. Stick around till the end because we've got a lot of cosmic ground to cover to reach the biggest entity. First up, let's talk about the Moon. It's like Earth's little sibling, much smaller in every way. The Moon's diameter is about 3,474 kilometers, 2,159 miles, which is roughly a quarter the size of Earth. The Moon's surface area is about 37.9 million square kilometers, 14.6 million square miles. Imagine fitting the Moon's surface into Earth's surface nearly 13 times. Despite being tiny, the Moon is super important. It controls our tides and keeps Earth's tilt stable. Now imagine you're 6 feet tall living in a 2,000 square foot house. When you see the ocean or the mountains, they seem like the biggest things ever, right? Now think about Earth. It holds you, the ocean, the mountains, and countless other massive things. Yet it doesn't even come close to being filled up. Sounds huge? Well, buckle up because in the grand scale of the universe, Earth is just a tiny speck. To prove this idea, let me spill some facts and numbers to you. So, Earth has a diameter of about 12,742 kilometers, 7,918 miles. Its surface area is a whopping 510.1 million square kilometers, 196.9 million square miles. That sounds enormous until you start comparing it to other cosmic objects. Then there's Saturn, another gas giant. Its diameter is about 116,460 kilometers, 72,366 miles, making it about 9 times wider than Earth. And those stunning rings, they make Saturn look even more majestic, but they don't add to its size, sadly. These size comparisons are mind-blowing. But it gets crazier when we talk distances. The space between planets is just as mind-boggling. The distance from Earth to the Sun, called an astronomical unit, AU, is about 149.6 million kilometers, 93 million miles. Light from the Sun takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach us. That's right, the sunlight you see left the Sun over 8 minutes ago. When you look further out in our solar system, the distances are even more impressive. Jupiter is about 5.2 AU from the Sun, which is over 778 million kilometers, 484 million miles away. While Saturn is almost 9.5 AU from the Sun, roughly 1.4 billion kilometers, 886 million miles. These distances make our solar system both fascinating and humbling. But believe me, in front of Jupiter, it's just a tiny speck. Because Jupiter is the heavyweight champion of our solar system. It's absolutely massive. Jupiter's diameter is about 139,820 kilometers, 86,881 miles, nearly 11 times wider than Earth. You could fit over 1,300 Earths inside Jupiter. This planet is so massive that it could probably swallow up your entire concept of size. Just take the Great Red Spot, one of the most iconic features in our solar system. This gigantic storm, which looks like a massive red eye on Jupiter's surface, has been raging for at least 400 years. That's longer than most countries have been around. The Great Red Spot is no ordinary storm. It's an anticyclonic storm, which means it spins in the opposite direction of Jupiter's rotation. And get this, it's about 16,350 kilometers, 10,159 miles, in diameter. For comparison, Earth's diameter is about 12,742 kilometers, 7,918 miles. So yeah, you could fit the entire Earth inside this storm with room to spare. In fact, at its widest, the Great Red Spot could swallow Earth 1.5 times over. Talk about a big gulp. Now let's step out of our cozy little planet's bubble. It's about to get hot, so crank up those ACs. So the Sun, our solar system's central star, is absolutely massive compared to Earth and even the gas giants. With a diameter of about 1.39 million kilometers, 864,000 miles, it's roughly 109 times wider than Earth. To give you an idea, you could fit about 1.3 million Earths inside the Sun. And even when you compare it to Jupiter, the biggest planet in our solar system, the Sun still dwarfs it. Now, if you think the Sun is big, wait until we talk about other stars. Our Sun is like a cute little kitten compared to some of the cosmic lions out there. Take Betelgeuse, for example. This red supergiant in the constellation Orion has a diameter of about 1.2 billion kilometers, 750 million miles, which is around 1,000 times the diameter of the Sun. If you plopped Betelgeuse into the center of our solar system, it would stretch beyond the orbit of Jupiter. Imagine that. Betelgeuse would basically turn our solar system into a giant roasting marshmallow. And then there's VY Canis Majoris, a red hypergiant in the constellation Canis Major. This behemoth has an estimated diameter of about 2 billion kilometers, 1.24 billion miles, making it around 1,700 times larger than the Sun. Now let's go even bigger. Hypergiant stars are the giants among giants, the real show-offs of the universe. Take UI Scuti, for instance, located in the constellation Scutum. This star's radius is about 1,700 times that of the Sun, with a diameter of approximately 2.4 billion kilometers, 1.5 billion miles. Another hypergiant, NML Cygni, also known as V1489 Cygni, resides in the constellation Cygnus. NML Cygni has a radius about 1,640 times that of the Sun, making it one of the largest stars known. These hypergiants are so big and bright, they make our Sun look like a flickering candle in a stadium. And the most horrific and chilling concept about size comparison beyond the universe is that the further we go, the smaller everything we know gets. Even the giant NML Cygni would look like a grain of sand in the grand scheme of things. First up, our home galaxy, the Milky Way. It's a barred spiral galaxy stretching about 100,000 to 120,000 light-years in diameter. That's a lot of space. It's packed with billions of stars, with estimates ranging between 100 billion and 400 billion. And it's not just a flat disk, it's got some thickness too. About 1,000 light-years at the spiral arms and bulging to around 3,000 light-years in the center. Along with stars, the Milky Way is full of gas and dust, making up about 15% of its visible mass, while stars contribute the remaining 85%. Our cozy little solar system sits in one of the Milky Way's spiral arms, the Orion Arm or Orion Spur if you want to get technical. It's a minor spiral arm nestled between the larger Sagittarius and Perseus arms. We're about 27,000 light-years from the galactic center, parked halfway between the center and the edge of the Milky Way. This spot is pretty stable and has a lower density of stars, which is great for life to develop and thrive. Now let's talk about the heart of the Milky Way, the galactic center. This place is jam-packed with stars, gas, and dust. But the superstar here is the supermassive black hole, Sagittarius A*. This bad boy has a mass of about 4.1 million times that of our Sun and a diameter of roughly 44 million kilometers, 27 million miles. However, its event horizon, the point of no return, is about 24 million kilometers, 15 million miles across. The gravitational pull of Sagittarius A* is so strong it dictates the orbits of everything around it, playing a crucial role in the dynamics of our galaxy. Now it's the time to leave the Milky Way behind and journey even further into the cosmos. First up, we have the Andromeda Galaxy, our next-door neighbor in galactic terms. Andromeda, also known as Messier 31, is hanging out about 2.5 million light-years from Earth. Now, if you think the Milky Way is big, wait till you hear this. Andromeda is slightly larger, and boasting a diameter of about 220,000 light-years, which makes our Milky Way's 120,000 light-years seem almost modest. Andromeda is a bustling metropolis of stars, housing around 1 trillion of them, which is double what we have. And here's the kicker. Andromeda and the Milky Way are on a collision course. In about 4.5 billion years, they're expected to merge into a galactic megacity, often nicknamed Milkomeda. Imagine the traffic jams. Now, if you thought two galaxies crashing into each other was wild, let's zoom out to galaxy clusters. These are massive gatherings of hundreds to thousands of galaxies bound together by gravity. One of the most famous is the Virgo cluster, located about 54 million light-years away. The Virgo cluster contains around 1,300 galaxies, though some estimates go up to 2,000. It's like a galaxy convention, all packed into one region of space. This cluster is part of an even larger structure known as the Virgo supercluster, which includes our own local group. Speaking of the local group, let's talk about our galactic neighborhood. The local group includes the Milky Way, Andromeda, and about 54 other smaller galaxies. It spans around 10 million light-years across. The three biggest members are the Milky Way, Andromeda, and the Triangulum Galaxy, M33. But our local group is just a tiny part of the Virgo supercluster, which itself is a colossal assembly of galaxies. And if that's not big enough for you, the Virgo supercluster is part of an even grander structure called the Laniakea supercluster. This behemoth spans over 520 million light-years and contains around 100,000 galaxies. Yes, you heard that right. 100,000 galaxies. Moving further out, we encounter galaxies like Virgo A, M87, a giant elliptical galaxy in the Virgo cluster, famous for its supermassive black hole. The Whirlpool Galaxy, M51, a stunning spiral galaxy interacting with a smaller companion, is about 23 million light-years away. And don't forget the Sombrero Galaxy, M104, a lenticular galaxy with a prominent dust lane and central bulge, located 29.3 million light-years from Earth. Then there are concepts or ideas about things beyond the universe that don't have any solid evidence, but somewhere, somehow, we believe they exist. And trust me, they're so grandiose they make everything else look tiny. First up, let's talk about multiple universes. And to understand this, you have to imagine countless universes, each with its own set of physical laws and constants. It's like a cosmic buffet, where every dish is a different universe. The idea here is eternal inflation, which suggests that different regions of space can inflate at different rates. This creates bubble universes. Our universe might just be one bubble in an infinite sea of bubbles. Pretty trippy, right? Next, we have the metaverse. No, not the Facebook kind. This metaverse is a higher dimensional space that contains multiple universes. If each universe in the multiverse is a 3D bubble, then the metaverse is like a 4D, or even higher dimensional space. Imagine trying to wrap your head around that. This might even allow for some crazy interactions between universes, which could have big implications for things like quantum entanglement. Moving on to the megaverse. Think of it as a collection of metaverses. If each metaverse contains thousands or millions of universes, a megaverse could have billions or even more. It's like those Russian nesting dolls, but on a cosmic scale. Each layer of existence contains numerous smaller units, all fitting snugly within each other. Then there's the gigaverse. This is where things get really wild. A gigaverse contains multiple megaverses. We're talking about hundreds of billions or even trillions of universes. It's like trying to comprehend the number of grains of sand on all the beaches in the world, times a million. Don't already start sweating because I'm going to tell you about the teraverse. This beast is even larger than the gigaverse. We're potentially looking at a quadrillion, that's 10 circumflex 15, or more universes. Each region could have vastly different physical laws and constants, making the complexity skyrocket exponentially. It further extends to the Xenoverse. Imagine multiple exaverses all bundled together. This could include 10 circumflex 21, sextillion, or more universes. At this level, we're talking about entirely alien and exotic forms of matter and energy, with physical laws that are fundamentally different from those we know. Finally, we reach the Omniverse. Remember the Ben 10 series? Well, they were something else. This is the totality of all possible realities and universes. It includes all multiverses, metaverses, megaverses, gigaverses, teraverses, exaverses, xenoverses, and hyperverses. It's the ultimate ensemble of existence, encompassing every conceivable form of reality and beyond. And if you think that's the end, sorry, but there is another concept. The father of all, it's called the outside. These are speculated regions beyond the omniverse, beyond our current understanding and measurement. They might not follow any known physical laws. representing a true frontier of theoretical physics. To top it all off, we have the barrel and the box. These are conceptual constructs representing unimaginable scales. They're used metaphorically to describe scales that defy comprehension. They remind us that our current understanding is just a tiny part of a much larger reality. After hearing about these cosmic giants, do your problems still seem that big? I didn't think so. But still, if you've got some deep thoughts or wild philosophies about the universe, let go of them in the comments below.